Okay, guys, what's going on? So today we have some new God of War footage. There was a PlayStation video that got released. It's a combat and enemies elevated video. So this is more or less focusing on the combat and I guess some enemies in God of War. There is a little bit of new footage in here though, so I figured it'd be worth going over and just looking at. Nothing too crazy though, so if you're trying to stay away from spoilers and stuff, this is absolutely spoiler free. I guess there's a couple enemies here and there that you see that might have not been revealed, but I think most of them have. And yeah, so nothing too crazy here. But before we hop into it, just make sure you guys like and subscribe. I really appreciate all the support I've been getting. And yeah, let's just get right into it. So, all right, so here we go. All right, so rated M. Yeah, we knew that. Okay, a little bit of recycled footage.
From a combat
but
perspective,
okay.
I always, and I still feel like the meat and potatoes of any God of War game is combat.
True. I can agree with that statement. I think the combat is probably the most crucial part. Okay. We got the World Tree and the Nine Realms.
My name is Roberto Clemente. All my friends call me Bert.
Hi, Bert.
I'm a senior combat animator here at Sony Santa Monica.
My name is Kim Wynn, and I'm a gameplay animator.
Hi, Kim.
Hi, I'm Sabra, and
Hi, Sabra.
I'm a senior VFX
So many
artist
people.
on God of War Ragnarok.
All right, a little bit more recycled footage, but
My name
it's
is
all right.
Grace Pan, and
Hi,
I'm
Grace.
a gameplay
Okay, sorry, I'm
animator
done.
in God of War Ragnarok.
Hi, I'm Steven O'Hara with GBA, combat designer.
Hi, Steven.
on God of
I
War.
had to say it.
And
I had to say it.
create
I couldn't leave
interesting
Steven
and
out. You know,
memorable
poor Steven.
creatures
He,
that players
you know,
like to
I just gotta say
attack
hi
and
to him.
defend
Gotta have
against.
that friendly introduction.
As an animator, you gave life to characters. You make them move, you gave them personalities, you gave them weight.
All right, so just more recycled footage.
My role as a VFX artist is to put the power.
So here's some new
behind the
footage.
move.
So
You
a move
are in
from
control
God of War
of fire
2018,
and earth and water,
making a
and
comeback.
wind.
That's always nice.
Whether you are throwing your axe or on the receiving end of an
There's the
enemy
runic
spell.
enemy, which is pretty interesting. I think having a runic enemy is actually going to be like, it's going to be pretty interesting just for the God of War Ragnarok playstyle because I don't know. I guess with this game introducing so much new stuff, like this isn't that far fetched, but I just feel like a runic enemy, like that's a crazy idea. The guy who came up with that must have been like, he must have been on something because that's a very, very interesting idea. I'll say that. I like it. I'm all for it. Especially if they do it well, which from the looks of it, it looks like it's going to be a difficult enemy who probably will be dealt well because, you know, this game is going to be amazing. But yeah, I mean, I just find it very interesting they did a runic as an enemy. So yeah, that's for sure interesting.
VFX is what really gives the movement and the danger to every move that a character or enemy makes.
Sure.
I work really closely with the design team, and
Okay, so this is a little bit of more new footage, I believe. I think these are the enemies. These are humans, but they're enemies that are mad at Kratos for causing Fimbulwinter, or Ragnarok, I guess, because Fimbulwinter inevitably leads into Ragnarok. But this is a pretty good look at them. I mean, I know we've had looks at them before, but you see one back here too. I do believe this is new footage, like I said, but I could be wrong. But this is newer footage. If it's not, if this isn't the first time we've seen it. So still, I mean, this is nice to see. But yeah, these are the enemies. If you haven't seen a close up of what they look like, this is them. There's gonna be certain enemies. They say it in this video. There's gonna be certain enemies for every single realm. Instead of just having like Draugr all around. But I'm thinking maybe these will be the enemies for Midgard or something. I mean, there's gonna be multiple enemies in every realm, but I'm assuming there's gonna be one main focus of enemies that you're primarily gonna be fighting. So I'm assuming maybe this would be the ones at Midgard, but I have absolutely no idea. That's just a
design
guess.
team
So
and the tech art team on this project specifically, we actually work a lot with camera, along with the
Good to know,
guidance
good to
of our
know.
great camera team.
A lot of time
so
going
I
into this
find
game.
myself
That's always
doing
nice to
fight
hear.
choreography sometimes.
One of the most challenging parts about being a combat designer isn't the technical implementation.
Okay, so some
of
more
a
new
creative
footage, just
creature,
the new
but it's
enemies and
really
stuff.
Navigating that line between fresh.
actually, you know what? Let's go back and look at that. So yeah, in the snow, just fighting the new enemies. This right here, this is interesting. I haven't seen this design of a character either. So there's the things to tell you where to go. I guess that is making a comeback in this game because Faye kind of wrote down to lead us into our destination in the prior game, and I guess she also did that for this game. So it just goes to show how much Faye could foreshadow into the future. But yeah, you see Atreus back there doing some work. Yeah, new character again.
We want to make something that makes players lean forward and focus and really try hard against that enemy and feel good about overcoming that, but we don't want to make them feel defeated if they can't figure something out.
And then it feels rewarding when you win, not because it was impossible, but because it was fun and engaging.
Okay, new finisher.
After the last game, we've heard the community cry out for more.
Okay. New enemy again. We already know about this guy because he got revealed in the second trailer, I believe.
After the last game, we've heard the community cry out.
Yeah, this is going to be a new enemy too, for sure. It's really nice they're adding all these enemies into the game because a complaint, like he's saying right now, from the previous game was for sure not enough enemies. They recycled a lot, and it wasn't annoying, but it was noticeable, and it for sure kind of like, it made the game less new and enjoyable and fresh because if you were constantly getting new enemies, I feel like that would keep me more like into it and, new character designs and all that, but in this game, like they're saying right now, that is something that they addressed when making this, and obviously they took that into consideration but when making this. So they're acting like it's something they fixed. So for sure, I think that's a good sign.
So in God of War Ragnarok, you're going to be traveling to all 9
these
realms,
visuals.
and each realm is going to have like its own theme of enemies that are very unique to that space.
So yeah, here he says that every realm has a unique enemies, and actually right here we see the light elves that we're fighting, which is very interesting because if you've played the last game, we fought the dark elves. So maybe this has something to do with how the dark elf we killed in the last game, the boss, he said that we made a grave mistake, so maybe we were on the wrong side. I mean, we weren't really on a side. Kratos was just kind of trying to get the light of Alfheim and get out of there. But still, I mean, I guess maybe we did make a grave mistake. I don't know. We're going to have to wait till the game releases. But yeah, here we are fighting light elves, which are very interesting.
This time around, we're going to be fighting
because in the last game, we only saw them get destroyed by the dark elves. We didn't really see them fight or anything.
One of the key learnings from the last God of War game is we don't have to think about the camera and how close combat is going to feel. We already have that knowledge, so we can build upon the close camera that we have, and we can iterate on enemies, creating more interesting scenarios. In the last game, Atreus was just starting to fight alongside Kratos, and he was learning from the master tactician. So in this game, he's trying to prove himself a little bit more, and we built upon those mechanics with him.
The previous God of War, Atreus was still a kid, right? So he has a lot of dependency on his father. And for this game, you will see Atreus moving more independently on his.
Oh, that's cool as hell. What did he just do?
For this game, you will see Atreus moving more independently.
Oh, okay, he got a little grapple thing like Kratos' chains. That's cool. Yeah, like that. That's cool.
In regards
Okay.
to VFX for Kratos, I think what the players really love is the
Just throws a rock
powerfulness of it.
casually.
When you are
I mean, it's
playing as
Kratos, yeah, I guess.
You really do feel like the God of War. And moving into Ragnarok, we want to really.
I do
make
feel like the
something
God of
bigger,
War
make
when I
it
play as
stronger, make
Kratos.
it
I
more
can
of a
agree.
Spectacle. You want them to be like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that the Blades of Chaos could get even better, but look at that.
So as Kratos gets
I
more
believe that was a
powerful,
runic
he can
from
add
the,
access to newer
the previous game.
combos and newer abilities that will increase the combat depth of each weapon.
Okay,
The Blade is one of
okay,
the moves
okay.
that I really
Hold on,
enjoyed
we
that
got to get a
will
replay on
increase
that.
the
Look at
combat
that.
depth
Oh
of
my
each
god.
weapon. For the Blades, one of the moves that I've really
All right,
enjoyed
that
from
looked
previous God of
very
War
clean.
is the combat grapple, and we're going to be bringing that with a new twist.
I'm very excited for players to try the blade grapple traversal moves. That brings so much more speed into the movement and the.
Yeah, the blade grapple, that looks like a really nice little addition. I really like being able to kind of travel with the blades a little. If you're not aware, you were able to kind of do that in the first 3 God of War games where you could kind of like become Spider-Man and use them to swing around. They did kind of bring that back in this game too. I think we see a clip where he straight up just like uses it like he did in the previous God of War games, minus 2018. With the chains. So I really like how they're bringing stuff like that back. I think that's a huge addition, and it just makes older players feel more welcome to come back and stuff. So
Dynamic feel.
yeah, for sure, very good addition.
One of the ways we've expanded Kratos combat this time around is we've given more utility and choice to the shield loadout.
If you are a parry person, you could really go for a shield that gears towards parrying. If you're a big blocker, then you could choose a shield that will really match your playstyle.
Yeah, so another thing she's talking about here is like, there's a lot of shield variations, which I think is awesome. That was another thing I wasn't really too happy about in the last game was that there was only really one shield you could use, and I think you could change it, but it did nothing for it. So I really like that they're giving different shields, different stuff. You know, obviously, she said one was for parrying, one was for just kind of blocking. So I really like that they're giving us the variations of shields to use. They're just giving us more options in general, which just makes the game just more to do, more fun, and just better overall. So I really like how they did that.
One new mechanic or element that I'm really excited about is these combo finishers. Building up the stun meter this time around is going to lead to different ways to basically decapitate the enemy.
You're going to be able to
around is going to lead to different ways to basically decapitate the enemy.
That was very badass. Okay.
choose, you know, which weapon you want to have.
Had to get a
when you
replay
kill
on that. Okay.
Another
Damn.
feature that we have when you kill a guy.
Wait. Oh my god. Some of these finishers are crazy, man. If yeah, I mean, like he was saying, they implemented more finishers into the game, which was another thing about the previous game that was a little bad, is that a lot of the finishers were recycled, and it just got repetitive over time. But as long as they give us a variety of finishers to get, I mean, even if it's like, if it's randomly selected between a couple, then it'll always kind of be fresh, because it's always something you haven't seen in at least a bit. So yeah, I mean, new finishers too, that's great. That's another thing about the last game that was a little bad, or not bad, I shouldn't say that, but it was a little unfortunate, and it did get constant and annoying and repetitive over time. But, or I shouldn't say annoying, but, you know, having new finishers into the game for sure makes it more fresh. This was a funny place to stop.
Another feature
The
that
poor
we've
guy.
added for Kratos is his new pre-fall attacks. You could jump off a ledge.
Pre-fall
and if
attacks,
there's an
too.
enemy below you, you could slam down on him.
Yeah, so that's awesome. So as we've already seen, you can do it with the blades. We see he does it with the axe right here, which I'll show again. So yeah, and you can recall the axe and then do that. And then he does it with his fist too, which is pretty interesting. Yeah, as we see right there. So I like that you don't necessarily need to have a weapon for it. You could still just do it with your fist. I love like hand combos in God of War. I think hand combos, like in the 2018 version, I just like it. I like beating Valkyries only using fists too and stuff like that, because it's just Kratos. You know, there's no weapons to it. It's very simple. It's basic, but there's still a lot of good combos to it. So yeah, I love how they're just adding more to that. Obviously, I think that's great.
There's such an emphasis on verticality in some of these fights that it's super engaging.
And then this is
as
where
Kratos, now that
Kratos
you have
is Spider-Man,
So much mobility,
yeah.
and that you can also
And then
take
there's-
advantage of that
that's the
verticality,
blade,
I think it just adds
down
another
slam.
interesting layer to a fight.
In God of War Ragnarok, we've enhanced the Kratos and Atreus duo. He's going to initiate a little bit more, be aggressive. He's going to fight alongside you, and sometimes even surprise you with his combo abilities too.
Some of
Okay.
the new expanded companion.
Okay, so yeah, there we saw Atreus just beating down on the downed enemy with his bow. So that was cool.
Atreus do leverage the fact that he's older now, he's bigger now, and he's
Okay, so
different
Atreus
from
is going to
Kratos,
be
so his
picking up
magic
his
has
slack.
different
He's going to be
flavor.
carrying his weight, which is good.
Not only
Not like he
that
didn't do that in the
fights
last
perfectly
game, but
together, there are also a lot of mini games and player interaction moments. For example, like the puzzle systems and the set pieces. You definitely will see a lot more collaborations between father and son.
okay, so yeah, that's another thing that in the last game had, or I should say didn't have, that for sure angered a lot of people. I think they did it. I think they kind of hit a sweet spot. I don't think it was. They didn't really do that many like puzzles and stuff in the last game, but I for sure see how I guess they could do a little bit more. I didn't really care too much. I feel like as long as the game is good, it kind of makes up for it, and the boss fights are good cinematically and all that, and they're not too easy. I still think it doesn't really matter, but I know a lot of people wanted more puzzles in the game. So as she was kind of saying there, they tried to put more effort into that, which is definitely good. I mean, I personally, I don't really care, puzzles or not, as long as it's a good fight. But sometimes puzzles can make a good fight. So as long as they do it right, which I'm sure they will, I think it just, again, helps the game overall. So for sure, pretty good there. And then this double Valkyrie fight, which I cannot wait for.
There's so much that goes into building a big set piece. You basically iterate and iterate and iterate.
God, the
and it takes
visuals of this
testing
game.
and just seeing what works to really figure out the personality of something. Basically, every department gives it their all to make things really spectacular. There were a lot of different times that I would look back at God of War games just through
Look
the
at those
ages
graphics.
before 2018. There were so many amazing, huge boss fights and set pieces that it was a huge inspiration for me on my time on this project.
For the old father!
Our design philosophy for creating new and memorable enemies is basically making them a combat puzzle, similar to like chess, and focusing on the chess pieces. Each piece has its own theme and its own use.
You need to be able to see what's happening in an instant and be able to react.
Kind of them talking more of like the puzzle aspect of the game. I guess they're trying to implement that into just normal fights now too, which, I mean, again, as long as they handle it correctly, it could be done perfectly. So
the player.
There's a couple of different ways that we go into making an attack very readable for the player. Sometimes we add a signature audio cue, or we'll add the different rings, such as what we did in the last game, that lets you know that this attack is unblockable, you need to dodge it.
There's so many different ways that VFX really helps.
That was cool.
Not just show what an enemy is about to do, but show who the enemy really is.
Everything you design has to be surrounding the essence of
I can't wait for that Thor fight,
and
man.
story. It's what makes it believable and memorable in the first place.
I think what I'm most excited about is for players to experience the diversity of enemies that
A little bit more recycled footage, but I mean,
you will be fighting everything from
it is what it is.
small little creatures to things that will take up the entire screen.
All of their designs run the gamut. I think each one looks so much different from the next one, and each of them have their own play styles and their own little fantasies that go into it. And so I think if you are really into Norse mythology, you'll be very interested to see how Sony Santa Monica has taken some of these creatures and interpreted them for God of War.
Everything that goes into the game, there's emotion behind it and intent behind it, and by the time it gets to you, everything that you've seen.
All right, so yeah, right now they're just
play
kind of
experience
recycling footage.
Has been
So not really much to talk about here.
Over, tested, and it's fun to play.
Okay, that was new. That looks cool. Hopefully that's a finisher. So yeah, that's the video. If you want to watch this without the commentary, because I know I was kind of yapping my mouth out a lot, I'll leave a link to the original video in the description. So make sure you check that out. But yeah, God of War. I mean, what else is there to say? A lot of cool new enemies. You know, we got to see a little bit more of them. A lot more combat we got to see. We got to see the down slam for the fist and the axe too. We already saw it for the blades, I believe, in one of the previous trailers. But I mean, yeah, for sure, a nice little video. It's just hyping me even more for this damn game that's gonna be so good. I really cannot wait for this. They didn't really show too much new footage, but you know, again, some new mechanics for combat and a couple new just videos and clips of enemies. So for sure, I think that's pretty good. And yeah, if you guys like the video, you know, make sure you like the video, subscribe. Just gotta say it, you know. And yeah, that's been the video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.